You're not special. You're not the exception. They don't not work for you and work for everyone else. It's just that you have to be hella convicted. You have to be hella convicted in your focus and in your relentlessness in the thing that you want. Hello, beautiful people. I'm here today to talk to you about why things work so well for some and not for others. And meaning to talk about this a while, and it's actually probably good that I've taken a little bit of time before I've jumped in to talk about it. But I was on Instagram the other day, unfortunately, and it does this thing where it shows you random posts of people that you don't follow and on threads. And there was this little block of like, you might like this post. And it was this person that I don't follow on threads had posted something along the lines of, "Hey guys, my I've been at this for like 2 years or something, and I haven't had any sales in the last 6 months, and it feels like such a grind." And I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." I don't know why, but I clicked on it. Just I was more curious, I think, what people were saying as a response to this, and I looked at her profile first, and the thing that she was selling was how to fill your containers with easy, effortless sales. And I was like, And I went to her, like the feed of all the comments underneath, and there was 50 comments. 50 comments of people saying things like, "Oh, I think that you need to adjust your copy," or, "Oh, I think you need to adjust your branding," or, "Oh, I think you need to adjust your mindset," all of this stuff. And I was just left wondering, like, am I crazy? Am I the only person that's seeing this? It's not working because it's not the truth. You can't sell people how to effortlessly get people into your containers if you can't get people into your containers with a lot of effort. It's just not the truth. It's not the truth. I'm sorry to tell you. And this is a really important part, not just in terms of the context of this, but in the context of any kind of conscious creation, because we our why and our intention has to be aligned with our emotions, with our vision, with our frequency, and with our action. And if these things aren't in alignment, then we're not going to have the result that we want. We can't, she would probably be better off if her why was, "I just want to scam people and make money on the internet." If that was her intention, she would probably do better because it would be actually in alignment with the thing. Now, I'm obviously being a little bit dramatic here, but I want to really illustrate this point. So we've got to be really intentional. What is the actual truth? Another a slightly more neutral example of this that I see a lot of the times with people is that they're not owning the desire for money. People say, "I want to help people. I want to build this thing," but I'm not um I'm not actually owning the desire that I have for money. It's really important that we own the desires that we have for the thing that we're creating. So we can say, "I desire to help people. I desire to, you know, build this really incredible thing, and I desire it for it to be profitable." We have to be able to own all of the parts. One of the things that I often ask when things come up in my spaces, particularly Lux, is that the truth, though? Is that the deepest truth? Is that the actual truth? And if there's any room for, "Oh, well, yes, but no, but maybe," then all of that doesn't work, because we can't have things that are misaligned in all of these different ways. It's got to be my intention matches my action, matches my vision, matches my frequency, and all of that is in alignment. And it's got to be with the maturity of, "And I'm really good at the thing that I do, and I can actually execute this thing, and I have something to offer." We get sometimes drawn, I see in the transformation industry, sometimes drawn into these kind of immature conversations where people will talk about, it's all about the energy, or it's all about this. And it's like, well, yes, it is. But the assumption is that you're very skilled at what you do and you have a sustainable business. So It's really important that we have all of these pieces as we're building something. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not going to work if it's not the truth. It has to be the truth. Okay, another reason that this kind of doesn't work for us sometimes, and I really want to talk about this as well, because a lot of times what I see is people have had these incredible spurts of growth. I feel like whenever I talk about this stuff and someone's in a defeated mode, if we go back into the past, there's been a time in their life where they've had a dream or a vision or something that they want to create or something they want to do, and they've put all of this time and energy into it, and they've been able to do it. But then we get into these other cycles where it's just not working and it's not happening, it's not happening, it's not happening. And what I see happens a lot of the time is that we we tap into the memory of what we did before, or we try to use old tools for a new project or for a new problem. And so I'll give you an example. I have a friend who's very successful. She's a multimillionaire and owns a lot of businesses. And she really had this season of grind, let's call it, and built up quite a bit of, not quite a bit, a huge amount of success. And I watch her sometimes look at the future and the things that she wants to create. And she kind of goes back to this time where it was like, well, I grinded and I did all these things, but she's in a very different stage of life. And so as she tries to apply those tools to her life now, it doesn't work in the same way. And this is something, a really important principle to understand, because when we tap into the past, we're actually using the limited mind to use our model of the past for a blueprint of our future. And so we can only create what is predictable from the mind. As we become more mature and as we become further along, we want to utilize leverage and the compound effect. We want to be able to utilize energy. We want to be able to use other people's time and energy. We want to be able to be compounding what we have and not necessarily redoing these grind phases that got what we were. And so we want to tap into who we were. We want to tap into the energy, the frequency, the identity of who we were, who we are when we're making massive changes in our life, when we're taking huge leaps forward, and not necessarily the tools that we used at those times, because what got you to where you are isn't necessarily what will get you to the next phase. And a lot of the times we had programs, particularly subconscious programs, that were supportive of that period, but may not be supportive of the next period. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people, because of the way that we were brought up, have a really deep association between hard work and value. And this tends to be incredible for people's first spurt of achievement, because it does take a lot of hard work. It does take a lot of conviction and relentlessness to build this phase of our lives. But the next phase is often about working smarter. It's often about relationships. It's often about applying universal laws to our business. It's often about trusting deeply in our gut, in our intuition, in our decision making. It's more about creativity and big picture thinking. It's about mastering our personal frequency and becoming the creators of our reality. And if we have this hard binary where we deeply associate value with hard work, then we feel like we can't lean into things that feel more easeful. So we block ourselves from utilizing the very tools, concepts, energies, frequencies that are available to us for that next level growth, because we have this association. And this is where a lot of people will get stuck, particularly hard workers, because they're such hard workers that they're like, I'm going to find the thing. I'm going to grind in this direction. 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 And then can feel really defeated and like there's something wrong with them because it's not working, air quotes. But it's actually because the very places that they're looking aren't the place. I love, you got to remember who this quote is by, but it's that we question all of our beliefs except those that we truly believe and those we never think to question. And that's the thing, is that we don't even realize there's a whole nother space that we're not looking in because of our beliefs. We're only seeing on one plane. And so there's a real invitation there to go in and look on a deeper level. What do I believe? What was I coded for? What did my schooling and my parents, and what's the message that I'm saturated by about success, about creating what I want? And is there something there that needs to be challenged? What do I believe about money? What do I believe about, yeah, hard work? What do I believe about people who have the things that I want to have? There are so often these deep things that are subconsciously ingrained in us that we might not even realize are shaping the way that we move forward and stopping us from creating what we truly want to create. Another thing is that I see sometimes is this limited or immature relationship with resources and resources and time. And so as we grow and as we become more successful, as we have more income, as we have tend to have more income and less time, there's this thing that has to happen where our valuation around time and money shifts. And we really understand that money is a resource. We have to look at ourselves. I talk about this, the king energy. We have to look at ourselves as the king of our kingdom and understanding that we have this kind of war chest. I think of it as this treasure trove of resource. And we have this understanding that, okay, we need this much to get through the winter. We need this much to pay the troops to guard the northern borders. If the queen comes in and is like, we need to decorate all the halls with gold filigree, the king's like, no, we can't do that because we have to be able to feed our people through the winter, right? So we have this mature relationship that evolves with resource, and we have to start valuing our time. Very wealthy people value their time more than money, which means that it only makes sense to pay people to buy back your time. And there are so many places where people understand this consciously, the idea of it, and they go, oh, I should do that. But then there's this subconscious resistance that comes up. I don't know why, but I see this a lot in um, like I would say executive team leaders, and for some reason, people who are in the real estate industry, like mortgage brokers and realtors are, I don't know why, but they're absolutely the worst for this. And when I've had them as clients in the past, they have this really, really strong doer work ethic, which I feel like is part of the reason that they're drawn to it. They're like, yeah, I can do this. But then they're terrible. They tend to be terrible at buying back their time. There's so many people I've had a conversation with, and I'm like, why don't you hire a VA? Why don't you hire a VA? Why don't you hire an assistant? Why don't you hire an assistant? I remember having this conversation with one private client about how she was like the co-leader of this firm, and she spent 3 hours messing around with this printer, and she was so frustrated. And I was like, this is not the value of your time. We need to have people doing things like this for us, or we need to have someone that we can call. But people get so stuck and they feel like it's bad, or they just don't take that action. And I think it's one of the biggest things that leads to burnout is that we hit this cap and we have this fear that we're not. I don't even know exactly what the fear is, but there's a lot of fear around spending money on hiring people. And then this is kind of going off on a tangent, but we have to be really intelligent about lifestyle creep as well. Because if as our income rises, our lifestyle rises, and there's no space for hiring people or diverting resources to the very places that are going to help us grow and expand and give us more time to be in our zone of genius. This is what we want to be. We want to be a super specialist that is spending the majority of their time in our zone of genius and not constantly doing tasks that are like a $20 an hour job. So I feel like this was a lot today, and I kind of just went on a tangent here, but there has never been a more beautiful time to join my spaces inside Lux right now. We are really ramping up and using these next couple of months for the creation and expansion of our reality, of our success, of our personal experience, of our ability to create and utilize our mind and our energy has tools to help us move forward into the life that we want. It is a very, very special time. I'm actually looking for a couple of new people to join right now. So applications are open. If you feel like this is you and you just know that it's time to go deeper, it's time to do the unconscious work, it's time to deepen your connection to your intuition and follow the guidance from your highest self, knowing that you're meant here to do big things, meaningful things for yourself, for your people, and for the planet. And you want to be supported and you want to be connected to other amazing people who are doing this kind of work as well, then I really invite you to join Lux. And finally, I just want to leave you with this one point, because this has been really on my radar lately. We have to be so sharp with our honesty with ourselves. With our honesty with ourselves about what it is that we're thinking, what it is that we're focused on, and what it is that we're creating. If you want to create something, you need to calibrate to the frequency of no matter what. No matter what. And so that means that you've got to be focused on this all the time. You cannot have the focus on the thing and be telling the story of why you can't have it. You cannot be focused on the thing and be telling the story of why you can't have it. And for a lot of you, this is a big thing to give up. People often come to me and they're like, I'm doing it. I'm doing the energy work. I'm doing the mindset work. I'm doing the actions, but it's not working. The thing is, when we're truly doing it, we don't even entertain that conversation. There isn't even space for um, entertaining a conversation about it's not working because we are so relentless and we are so convicted on the thing. Do you know what my motto used to be? And I brought this back, but before I had the awareness of all of this and I used to do incredible things in my previous career, no power on this earth will stop me. That was the frequency that I coded in when I was going after something that I truly desired. No power on this earth will stop me. That has to be our level of conviction, of relentlessness. And we have to be honest with ourselves. Am I holding what I call the tension on that? Am I holding tension on that thing? Am I holding focus on the thing that I want? Am I living, breathing, eating, feeling, thinking, meditating like that is the only future? That is the only reality that I'm aligning to? Or am I spending like 10% of the time aligning to that reality and then a whole bunch of time in fear and doubt, thinking about what'll happen if it doesn't work, just calibrating to all of these possibilities and all of these realities that I don't want. These universal laws are so simple. They're so simple, but they're nuanced and they're unforgiving. They're unforgiving in that we have to actually do it. We have to be so convicted in our just our relentlessness and our focus on the thing that we're creating and not going into all of these stories about why we can't have it and fears and all the things. And it's so funny because like the more I learn and the more I read, the more I just see the same stuff literally everywhere. I finally started reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill recently. And this is a book that, people talk about as being the Holy Grail. And I started reading it. I'm like, I know all of this stuff. I've learned this so many times in so many different iterations and so many different languages, which is amazing because it just reinforces that these universal laws do not change. You're not special. You're not the exception. They don't not work for you and work for everyone else. It's just that you have to be hella convicted. You have to be hella convicted in your focus and in your relentlessness in the thing that you want. And a lot of people get into this work and they think, oh, manifestation. Oh, I can use my thoughts to create my reality. And it sounds easier because it's not laborious, like physical hard work, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier in the sense of that you can just slack off with your thoughts. It means that instead of, grinding and physically and kind of forcing physical reality into the things that you want, you're doing it with your mind and your energy and your personal frequency. Your personal frequency allows you to become the conscious creator of your reality. That's what my community is about, reality shapers. But you have to actually do it. You have to actually do it. You have to be so convicted in your thoughts, in your personal frequency, in your no matter what alignment with the focus on the thing that you're creating. And if you're not doing that, it's not going to work for you. It's just as simple as that. The laws work, but you're either doing it or you're not doing it. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. There is no if, ands, or buts. There's no room for flexibility. Every time you tell the story of why you can't, every time you let in the doubt and fear, every time you entertain the worst case scenario in your mind, in your energy, you are killing all of the momentum you've built up. You are killing the compound effect and you are killing let's call it the force of attraction between you and the thing that you're trying to create. So I'm going to leave you with that, but be honest with yourself. Our mind loves to create justification stories. It's like, I am doing it, but you know, but, oh, I just sometimes do this thing, or like, I sometimes just do that. We love to justify. I like to say justify more than excuses, but they're kind of excuses. But we love to justify. Oh, well, I just indulged in this one little bit of complaining. I just indulged in this one little bit of victimhood. I just indulged in this one little bit of judgment and negativity and whatever. And it's fine. It's not going to misalign me. Yes, it is. The universe is responding to who you're being, and your personal frequency is made up of the sum of who you're being. You can't go, I'm low vibe, I'm misaligned, and then suddenly now that I want something, I'm going to be high vibe. It doesn't work that way. We are practice. We practice our vibration. We practice our frequency. We practice who we are. Even um, neurologically, it's something like 95% of our thoughts are the same thoughts we had yesterday. And those are the thoughts that we've been practicing. So you can't just suddenly change. You have to practice, practice, practice. You have to form the habit of being who you want to be and break the habit of being who you were. So I'm going to leave you with this today. You are beautiful. You're amazing. Thank you for joining me today. If this is right up your wheelhouse, then I invite you to join Lux. It is going to be one of the most incredible seasons that we've ever had in my world coming up. And I'm so excited to share it with the people inside. The people who are inside are already incredible. And if you are curious to dive into just a little bit more of this with me and get your toes wet, then I invite you to sign up for the Miracle Mile free masterclass. And again, it's not posted yet, so you can just sign up for the live sessions in my link in bio, and you will be automatically added to that. So thank you for joining me today. My name is Michael Edwards. I'm sending you so much love, and bye for now.